Hi guys, welcome back to our channel. In case you're new here, my name is Maren
and I'm Maureen. We are just two Kenyans reacting to your internet videos.
Yeah, so in today's episode we are going to be talking about this African sister who was warning passport bros from America not to take African wives to America.
Yeah, and this does not only apply to African wives. I think it applies to mail order brides from all over the world. This can be Asia, but today we are going to be talking about the African brides. We are going to be focusing more on these African brides.
Yeah, but first let's just watch this video and then we'll come back with our remarks. If you have anything to say, you can leave it on the comment section. Let's watch the video.
Let me quickly drop this here. This is about men that travel all the way from the Western world to go to Africa to bring new wives. This thing is becoming recurring, and I think it's high time I discuss it with you people. Listen, going back to Africa to bring a wife, that's fine and good, but remember, everything that has advantage has disadvantage. And in this case, I believe the disadvantages I've seen are higher. The advantages are very narrow. Listen, remember one thing before you go to Africa to bring a woman. We have a culture, we have a tradition where women are subdued to be under men, naturally. Even if the woman refuses, your family is there to fight her. Your own family is there to guide her in the right direction if she has a good family. But remember, abroad is a 50-50 system. It's a system that gives women so much leverage. It's a system that recognizes women before men. It's a system that the law favors women before men. It's a system that they think of the best interest of the women and the children before they think of you as a man, irrespective of whether you're the owner of the property where you people live or not. So I'm talking very fast, but listen to me very carefully. So before you go to Africa to bring in a wife, think carefully. What kind of woman are you going to bring in? Listen, women comes in different colors, and women come in different colors. I am one as well, so I know this for a fact. So remember, a woman who's subdued by culture, a woman who's subdued by tradition in Nigeria or any other part of the African countries, and you bring the person to abroad, to the Western world, and you think she's going to remain that way with you, it's not true. For a fact, it only takes she mingling with people who will tell her what the laws are, who will tell her what leverages women have. It only takes the grace of God, a woman who has a conscience, for her not to throw you out of your house. It only takes the grace of God, a woman who has conscience, to not bring in that equal partnership to you. Remember, abroad, it's all about equal rights. So long as you're 18, you cannot subdue anyone into attending to you as the women subdue women in Africa. Here is seen as modern day slavery. So you better be very careful whether you're married to that woman or not. Just know that for a fact, because so many men keep complaining, a woman who I bring from Africa, she threw me out of my house. Well, you're not telling people the truth. The law here is different. The law here favors women. So before you go and bring the woman from Africa, remember that she's coming to a system where she's going to get exposed at some point. It only takes a woman with conscience to continue to live with you the way you both agreed. So be very careful when you go to Africa to bring a wife. Remain here and stay with the woman you know here for your own interest.
So let's talk about that. What this woman has said. She has said, be very careful when you bring an African woman in America, a society where women are put first, women have rights,
and everything is shared 50-50.
And you think,
this woman is going to stay the same as the person you married in Africa.
Yeah, in Africa we have this culture where women are really, it's like a slave culture.
It's like they come second to men.
Yeah, and in Africa, it's allowed. A man can. Do you know that actually? I don't know how this will sound, but it happens in Africa. There are places where men still beat their women as a form of punishment. You know.
And if women go to report in the police stations, they're told that these are things that happen in marriages, and they should go back home and solve it with their husband.
In Africa, these rights that this woman is mentioning, they do exist, but they're not really taken as important as they are in abroad. Here, a woman will go to a police station and accuse the husband of battering her. Until this woman is dead, no action will be taken. They just don't care about these things. These things are considered domestic issues and shouldn't be interfered with here in Africa. That's an African woman.
Exactly. And this same African woman, if you take her abroad in America, she gets to mingle with Americans from abroad, and then they get to enlighten her about her rights. This woman won't be the same person you married in Africa. So you should expect this woman to change.
Yeah, so for those men who are thinking, oh, I'm going to get a very submissive woman in Africa, marry her, then bring her to America, what she's trying to warn you is, don't expect the same woman you marry in Africa to go abroad and still remain the same.
And also another thing, she's mentioned the issue of going 50-50 in America. So here in Africa, you find that men take a bigger responsibility to when it comes to taking care of the family. But here in Kenya, I'm seeing the tides change a little bit. Men have started to ask women to take 50-50 ownership of responsibilities at home, and women have started asking men to help in the house chores and such like things. But anyway, in general, in the whole of Africa, if you take this woman and you expect when she gets to America she'll be a housewife and she'll be subjected to your wishes, that is not going to be the case, because I understand in America, much as there's a problem with employment, there's more opportunities. So you can imagine such a woman going to America where you earn by the hour, and she can get also employment. This woman won't fancy being a housewife for so long, especially if it's a woman who loves searching for themselves.
And I understand in Africa, you know, there's not a lot of job opportunities, so I feel like especially those who are coming from middle class income or low income, people are automatically forced to become housewives, because one of the major reasons young ladies get married here is because of poverty. So by default, when a man marries such kind of a woman, by default she's already a housewife, and the man becomes a provider. So the woman is now enters that slavery culture we are talking about for women. She now has to be very she has to be very dependent on the husband, because he's the one bringing everything at home, you know. So yeah,
and what usually happens is this slavery culture, once this woman is in that home and is being some men mistreat their women, right? But picture this same woman in America being mistreated like this, and there is opportunities. Literally, you can earn money from sitting a dog, babysitting dogs or walking dogs. You know, like, I mean, don't expect women to be the same when they get to America. Is all we are saying.
Yeah, let's watch more.
Is it advisable to bring your wife from Africa to Europe here to start life? Bro, don't bring your wife from Africa to Europe. I am begging all men, don't bring your wife from Africa to Europe. Don't bring your wife from Africa to Europe. If you know that you are the kind of man that has an ego, you are a proud man, you have a chieftaincy, yes, you are a chief, you are a strong man, you understand, people respect you.
Okay, that type of man that would like to control women or what?
Control women. You know you are a dogu.
Oh, dogu.
Woman cannot talk to you anyhow. Don't bring your wife from Africa to Europe, because if you bring them here, they will bring you down. They will bring you down. She will disrespect you. There will be no respect. And if any day you talk to her anyhow, or you have an issue with her, she will go and report you to police station. The next thing is to divorce you. That is the only thing they can do. Don't bring your wife to Europe. From Africa to Europe. I am telling you, for what I know about. We have many of them.
So how this African man is talking, he's like, the biggest reason why he doesn't want African wives to go abroad to their husbands is because he wants to continue the slave mentality. He wants to continue being exalted by his wife. He wants to continue being oppressive to his wife. That's why he doesn't want African wives to be taken abroad, because then they'll be schooled or educated about their rights. And if you mistreat them, if you beat them, they have a right to go and report you in the police station. You know? And there will be action and accountability. That's why it works, you know. So basically, you know, it's mind-blowing to see an African man who's traveled abroad. From what it looks like, this man is used to staying abroad. So that is how he's observed how African women get to learn their rights. And that is how from his observations, he'd rather not take his wife abroad. Not because they'll cheat abroad, not because of anything bad,
because their
enlightened.
brains are going to open up, you know. And it's mind-blowing because I'd expect such a person who's gone and traveled to a first world country, you'd expect them, you know, for them to have an open mind. You'd expect for them to unlearn their, you know, their toxic cultures. But in this case, this man is still steadfast on holding his beliefs, right? So like, I don't know, what do you guys have to say about this situation? Do you know, even here in Kenya, like, you might be surprised, it might look like, you know, we are going through modernization, whatnot. For those who have abandoned their toxic culture, you really thank God and you embrace that, you know. But you'll find fine men in fine suits until, you know, they become so comfortable with you and they start opening up, and you become surprised that they still think the way they do, that women should do this, women should do that,
yes, they want to share bills with you 50-50. That's the funniest part. They want to share bills with you 50-50, yet they expect you to still live how your great grandmother lived with her husband.
In Nairobi, actually, we enjoy a metropolitan, meaning we enjoy people from diverse cultures, diverse backgrounds, so we get to mingle with people and we get to understand. But one thing I believe is that a strong marriage can never break no matter where you move, you know. If you treat your wife right, if you treat your husband right,
and both of you respect each other, it doesn't matter where in the world you guys move to,
your marriage
black
can never,
or white.
your marriage can never break. And the aspect of respect is very, very important, because if you respect your wife enough for them to give you to accord you the same respect back, it doesn't matter if you move your wife to America, they're still gonna show you the same respect. But if you live in the slave mentality where you're used to the cultures that really, really oppress women, then you're going to experience some problems when you get to the first world countries, because there women know exactly how they should be treated, you know. You know, me, I find it funny because I don't want to mention any country, but let me just give our own as an example. We come from Kenya, right? And in Kenya, I'd say the communities that still practice that toxic culture where women are still suppressed, majorly maybe the Maasai, Samburus, you know, and maybe people who still live in the rural areas, you know, then they still live in that cultural mentality that, you know, you have to serve your husband like you as if you are his slave, you know. So we know for a fact in Kenya that masculine energy is still ruling in Kenya, which is not wrong, except for when it turns toxic. For example, what do I mean? You see, our neighbors Tanzania, they have a female president, right? But I'll tell you one thing for a fact is that Kenya will never have a female president, and Kenyans not anytime soon. And Kenyans are not ready to have a female president,
especially males.
Why?
Kenyan men.
There's just the other day that a female candidate tried running for presidency, Martha Karua, and this woman, you'd walk in the streets and literally you'd hear men say, I don't want to say it in Swahili, let me just say it in English.
There'll be no day a woman will ever rule a man in the country that I'm from.